One day while I was working on our spaceship, I was doing my task, and once I was done, I was moving to the other side of the spacecraft when I came upon a dead body. I went to the dead body to see if there's anything I could do to help out, and I was really scared, and as soon as I started crawling up for help or trying to report the body, someone else came and saw me with the body. So when they saw that, I know it looked really bad. It looked like I was the person who killed it, but I promise you it wasn't me, and I tried telling everyone, but it was no use. Everyone accused me of murder and saying I was the only one who was there and no one else saw me. The most frustrating thing in the world is when you're telling the truth and no one believes me. So of course, no one listened to me and they voted me off the damn ship, okay? And then they lost because that's what they get when they don't listen, because pink is always sus and pink is always lying, so it's always freaking pink. So this couple comes in together to buy an engagement ring, and they had a budget of about $20,000, which is a lot for an engagement ring. But the ring that she happened to pick out was about $35,000, which is a lot of money. And she was really adamant about picking it, and he was kind of reserved, like, it is a lot of money. But she's like, no, if you love me, you'll buy it, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, you know what? You're gonna be my wife, the mother of my kids, whatever makes you happy. So after they finally decide, I pack it up for them. I'm like, here you go. Have a great marriage. Have a great life. Goodbye. About 3 weeks later, the fiance comes in, and I'm thinking she just wants to get the ring size or something. And she's like, can you guys take out the diamond and replace it with a cubic zirconium? Cubic zirconium is a very cheap substitute for a diamond. So I was like, yeah, we can do that, but just give us 2 or 3 days. So she leaves, and I call her fiance because I was like, oh, this is really suspicious. And he had no idea that she came into the shop or that she was coming in. So he calls me 2 days later, and he finds out that she was going to break up with him. She would have kept that diamond, and she would have given him the fake one. He would have returned it, and he would have gotten no money back. Talk about mess. Okay, so this is a story when I ran away at my first day of work. I live near an Amazon warehouse, so everyone was getting jobs there, and I was like, oh, I want to get a job there because it's close to my house, and it paid well at that time, which was like $13. And so when I get there for the interview, it's like a really big group interview, and one by one, she's like, do you do drugs? Are you high right now? And I was like, no. And she's like, okay, put this in your mouth, and if you pass, you got the job, and we'll call you to set something up. And I was like, oh, is that it? You guys don't have to ask any questions? She's like, nope, that's it. And so we had orientation. It was a big group of people. And the orientation, they're like, you don't get any time off from October to January because that's peak holiday season. Not a single day off you can request. We can't request holiday or anything like that. I didn't get any 6 days. And all of these shifts were like 12-hour shifts. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, I still proceed and I get the job. I go to my first day there. And it's like a really ghost town, like really depressing aura. A lot of older people. And I was like 18 at the time. And I was really sad. And I didn't feel right. I wanted to cry. So I said, can I go to the bathroom? And I ran away and I went home and I never went back again. Yeah, so that's my story. Okay, so this happened during one of my harder college classes when the teacher gave us an exam. We flipped to the back where the cheat sheet should be for us, the formula sheet, and we realized that it was actually the answer sheet for the exam. Our professor got a phone call and had to step out for a few minutes. And so everyone in the class looked around each other and was pretty adamant on this is the answer sheet and he just made a mistake. But we all just gonna keep our lips shut and just get the exam done because it was a hard class. I went through every answer and got the same answer as the answer sheet, so everything was pretty legit, except for the last question where we had to draw a flow diagram, and on the answer sheet it said answers may vary. So I did to the best of my ability the flow diagram, and as I'm turning in my exam, I wanted to see what everyone else put. And these people put, for the last question, answers may vary. So if we weren't gonna get caught before, we definitely were gonna get caught now. Alright guys, this is a story of when my mom accidentally gave me eardrops in my eyes. So I'm one of those people who have like really bad allergies during allergy season, to the point where I can't even open my eyes in the morning because they're so crusty and nasty. So I called my mom for help because at this time I wasn't able to put any eye drops by myself. I was like, maybe 12. And then as soon as she put them in, they just started burning. Like I was like, oh, what the heck? Like it never burns. And so she was like, I can't read this. Just tell me what it says. So then I'm looking at it and I was like, Mom, these are your eardrops. I was sleeping in her room, and so her eardrops were right next to me, and she didn't really look, and she just put them in my eyes. And she's like, oh, sorry. My mom's like, why would you put your eardrops next to you instead of your eye drop? You should have told me. And she's like, let me get an ice pack. So I run to the bathroom, and I'm just throwing water in my eyes, and she came back with the ice pack, and the ice pack's just sitting there. You know what my mom said after all this? She goes, eardrops, eye drops, they're all the same type of stuff. You'll be fine. Don't worry. Needless to say, she's never given me medicine again.
My fiance went no contact with his mom, and that only lasted about a week before she came banging on our door trying to apologize. When I let her in, that's when all hell broke loose because she saw our Christmas tree. She began screaming that I was trying to convert her son to Christianity and that I was just a little whore who was trying to ruin her family. She started running towards my Christmas tree and began tearing off every ornament and throwing them and leaving them smashed on the floor. I have many childhood and family ornaments on my tree that were very precious to me that were all smashed during her rampage. I had to grab her and physically drag her away, and she was punching me several times and biting my.
2 weeks later, he invited me to come to a family birthday party. I met more of his family and they were amazing people. His mother was avoiding me and I had no problem with that. I went to grab something out of my purse when I noticed it was missing. I went and asked my boyfriend and he quickly began to help me look for it. He got this strange look on his face and he quickly went upstairs where I heard yelling and screaming. He came back down with my purse in hand. Turns out his mom took my purse so that she could take my license to run a background check on me. I thought it would be best to avoid all family functions until he insisted I come to a family reunion. I sat at a table with his sister and his cousin. My future mother-in-law is the absolute worst person I've ever met in my life. I'm 30 years old and my boyfriend is 31 and we've been together for 8 months. He's the sweetest and most caring man I've ever met in my life, but the biggest surprise is when I met his mother. I'm a natural redhead, so when we sat down for dinner, she asked me if my parents had the same color hair. And then she proceeds to ask me, does the carpet match the drapes? I looked over to my boyfriend who seemed equally as shocked, but he didn't say anything. And when I didn't respond back, she said, don't worry, I'll ask my son about it later. She then went on to attack my appearance and
So I just found something out and it's like blowing my mind. My whole life, my parents have never called each other by their first names. They call each other these cute nickname pet names in Pashto, okay? My mom calls my dad Saraya, which literally translates to my man. Like she calls him my man. But my dad has always called her one of these three names, okay? The first one is Nazanin, which is like my sweetheart. The second one is Gualame, which translates to my flower. But it's the third one that like hit me in the feels.